Welcome to YOUCANIC. In this video, we're gonna go over what happens if you add brake fluid that's supposed to go here, but you accidentally add it to the power steering pump. In this case, the reservoir for the power steering pump is right here. A lot of times it's gonna be right next to the engine. But if that happens, don't panic. It's okay. It's a honest mistake. It does happen quite a bit, actually. But if you added, even if you add a little bit of brake fluid into the power steering pump, you'll need to extract that fluid. The two fluids are not supposed to be mixed together. They're hydraulic fluids, but they have different chemistries. So the brake fluid is a lot more abrasive, and when added to the power steering system, if you go ahead start the car, it'll mix with go into all the power steering rack and all the components, all the lines of the power steering fluid. There's O-rings that the brake fluid can wear and damage. Now they don't get damaged right away, but if you add brake fluid here and you just don't do anything about it, you just leave it in the system, that is not a good thing. So let's say you did accidentally add a little bit of brake fluid here, or maybe a fair amount. The first thing that you should do, if you can, is not start the engine, because as soon as you start the engine, that brake fluid is gonna go into all the lines. What we would recommend is get a syringe or just maybe a fluid transfer pump or anything that you can. Open the cap and empty this whole reservoir, because most likely the brake fluid is still here, and the less fluid we introduce to the rest of the system, the better it is. Either way, we recommend to do a power steering system flush. But if you only added a tiny bit and you didn't start the engine, you just realize that right away, just go grab a syringe, empty the whole system, and add power steering fluid here. So in most cases, you might be able to get away without doing a flush, if that's the case. If you do start the engine, we recommend to absolutely get a flush for the power steering system. What a flush will do is a mechanic will first will empty the reservoir, but then they also will come and disconnect the return hose from the power steering pump. That brings back all the fluid. You put that in a different container. There's pumps that you can connect in line and do all of that, but if a mechanic doesn't have that, not all shops have that, what they'll do is they'll disconnect the return line and then start filling this with fresh fluid, and then run that for a few cycles until the fluid that you see coming back into the container, it's clear and clean and it's the correct fluid. I mean, it's easy to tell because the fluid will get darker if it's been in the car for a while. The old fluid will be darker. Another question that comes up frequently is, should I take the car to the dealer and have them, fix or flush your system? We would recommend finding an independent auto repair shop, and the reason for that is that if you take it to the dealership and they find that this happened, they'll log it, they'll record that in their system, and then you might void the warranty for the engine or issues that you might have in the future. Even if you didn't start the engine, you just added a little bit of brake fluid in there, and you just towed the car to the dealership, they're going to record that, and then they're going to, if something down the road you have a problem that's not even caused by that at all, you basically voided your warranty. So it's better to get, in this case, is to just have an independent shop do the flush. Most shops can flush the system in your car. That's not an issue. The other thing is you're going to have to pay for that either way. It's going to cost a couple $100 for the flush. Even if you take it to the dealer, you still have warranty. Things of this nature are not going to be covered by the warranty. So there's really no good point to take it to the dealership. But of course, the choice is yours, and it's up to you where you take it. So again, if you haven't started the engine, drain that with a syringe and fill it with power steering fluid. If you can still do a flush if you prefer, but in most cases, that should be enough and not be a problem. if you do start the engine, or you've been driving for even if you let the car run for 10 minutes, that brake fluid will mix with the hole, and it can break down the power steering fluid, the chemistry of the power steering fluid. So you should do that flush, and do not keep that in the system there. Do that flush as soon as possible, because the longer you leave that brake fluid in the power steering system, the more likely it is that you're going to cause damage. So keep that in mind, and thank you for watching.